The quantum sensors aboard the Dreadnought flagship Eternal Victory had never registered anything quite like this before. Commander Zirak stood motionless before the primary display, her scaled fingers tracing the unusual pattern that pulsed across the screen. After 3 centuries of silence in this sector, something had awakened. Analysis, she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of someone who had overseen the fall of 1,000 human worlds. The science officer, Ven, manipulated the holographic controls with practiced precision. The signal appears to be emanating from the Arcturus dead zone, Commander. It's unlike anything in our database. Ven's auxiliary breathing gills fluttered with anxiety. The energy signature doesn't match any known civilization's technology. Zirak's inner eyelids narrowed. The Arcturus sector had been one of the first to fall during the Great Purge, its human colonies reduced to atomic dust before they could mount any meaningful resistance. Nothing should have survived there, let alone remained active after 3 centuries. "Show me the temporal analysis," she ordered. The display shifted, revealing layers of data that stretched back through time. The signal hadn't simply appeared. It had always been there, hiding beneath the background radiation of space itself, waiting for something. Lieutenant Kraz, her tactical officer, spoke up from his station. "Commander, we're detecting quantum entanglement patterns within the signal. They bear similarities to human encryption protocols." The bridge fell silent. Mentioning humans had become somewhat taboo in recent decades. Their defeat had been absolute, their civilization erased from the galaxy. Yet their shadows still loomed large in the collective memory of the Dreadnought Empire. Humans had been different from other conquered species. They had fought with an ingenuity and determination that had cost the Empire dearly. "Impossible," Zirak said, but there was a hint of uncertainty in her voice. The human territories were thoroughly sterilized. Their quantum technology was primitive compared to ours. They barely understood basic dimensional shifting. But even as she spoke, a memory surfaced, something she had discovered in the final days of the war. In the ruins of a human research facility, she had found fragments of data suggesting projects far more advanced than anything the Empire had believed possible. She had dismissed it then as desperate propaganda, but now, "Bring us closer," she ordered. "Full defensive screens. I want every sensor we have focused on that signal." The Eternal Victory moved through space with predatory grace, its quantum drive allowing it to slide between the dimensions where normal matter existed. As they approached the source of the signal, the ship's AI began detecting anomalies in the local space-time fabric. "Commander," Ven called out, his voice tight with concern. "I'm detecting organized quantum fluctuations. The space ahead, it's not natural. Something has been manipulating the fundamental forces at a subatomic level." Zirak felt her scales tighten against her skin, an ancestral response to danger that millions of years of evolution hadn't erased. "Elaborate." "It's as if someone rewrote the laws of physics in this region. The quantum states are too ordered, too precise. This isn't random cosmic phenomena." The implications were staggering. The Empire had always prided itself on being the masters of quantum manipulation, using it to power their ships and weapons. But this suggested capabilities far beyond their own. A sudden alert blared through the bridge. The signal had changed. Multiple quantum signatures detected. Kraz shouted, They're everywhere. The signal we detected, it wasn't a distress call or a weapon. It was a key." Before Zirak could respond, space itself seemed to shiver. The sensors screamed as reality buckled around them. In the vast emptiness ahead, something impossible was happening. A point of absolute darkness appeared, a void that seemed to swallow light itself. "Full reverse," Zirak commanded, but it was too late. The void expanded, revealing something that had been hidden in dimensions beyond normal space, a massive structure that dwarfed their flagship. As the object fully emerged, Zirak felt her heart stop. Its design was unmistakably human, but unlike anything they had encountered during the war. This wasn't a warship or a defense platform. It was something else entirely. Its surface was covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched, like living mathematics made material. "Message incoming," Ven whispered. It's broadcasting on all frequencies, using Empire protocols." The words that appeared on their screens were in perfect Dreadnought script, but they carried in weight that made them feel ancient and new at the same time. "Centennial protocol activated. Humanity's legacy preserved. Transformation sequence inite." Xerox stared at the message, understanding flowing through her like ice water. This wasn't a remnant of the war they had won. This was something the humans had planted here, knowing what was coming, preparing for a future they wouldn't live to see. "All ships," she broadcast to her fleet, "maintain distance. Do not engage. I repeat, do not." The Sentinel spoke, its voice resonating not through communication channels, but directly through the quantum fabric of space itself. "Hello, children of the Empire. We have been waiting for you. It's time you learned why humanity allowed themselves to be defeated." As the words faded, the Sentinel began to change, its surface flowing like liquid metal, and Xerox realized with growing horror that everything the Empire knew about human technology had been a carefully constructed lie. The war hadn't ended with humanity's defeat. It had ended exactly as humanity had planned. And now, 3 centuries later, their true strategy was finally revealing itself. The Sentinel's transformation continued, its surface rippling with patterns that defied conventional physics. Commander Xerox watched as sections of the massive structure began to unfold into impossible geometries, revealing layers that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Ma'am," Ven's voice cracked with tension, "the quantum readings are off the scale. It's accessing dimensional frequencies we didn't even know existed." Xerox's training warred with her instincts. The Empire's military doctrine was clear. Any unknown human technology was to be destroyed immediately. But something deeper, more primal, told her that firing on this entity would be a catastrophic mistake. "All ships maintain position," she ordered, her voice steady despite the fear crawling through her scales. "Passive scans only. Do not, I repeat, do not power weapons." The Sentinel's voice resonated again, but this time it carried echoes of multiple human voices speaking in perfect harmony. "Your restraint is noted, Commander Xerox. Perhaps there is hope for your species after all." The bridge crew stiffened. They hadn't transmitted their commander's identity. "How do you know my name?" Xerox demanded. "We know everything about the Empire, Commander. We have been watching, learning, understanding. Your quantum communications networks, your classified military databases, your most secure archives, all have been open books to us. We needed to understand what you would become after our apparent extinction." Ven's instruments suddenly erupted with new alerts. "Commander, the Sentinel, it's not alone. I'm detecting quantum disturbances throughout the sector. More structures are emerging from dimensional space. All around them, space itself began to tear open. One by one, massive structures similar to the first Sentinel emerged from impossible angles, each one different in design, but carrying the same unmistakable signature of human engineering. Within minutes, the Dreadnought fleet found itself surrounded by 12 Sentinels, arranged in a perfect dodecahedron pattern. "Impossible," Lieutenant Kraz whispered. "The energy required to maintain this many-dimensional pockets, it would exceed the output of entire star systems." The first Sentinel spoke again. "Your understanding of energy and physics is limited by what you believe to be possible. Humanity transcended those limitations centuries ago. What you witnessed during the war was merely what we wanted you to see." Holographic displays materialized throughout the bridge, showing technical specifications that made Xerox's hearts race. The Sentinels weren't just weapons or defensive platforms. They were self-contained repositories of human knowledge and technology, each one housing computational power that made the Empire's most advanced AI systems look primitive in comparison. But why? Xerox found herself asking. Why allow us to believe we had won? Why hide all of this? Because, Commander, you needed to learn. All of you needed to learn. The Empire's greatest flaw has always been its arrogance, its belief that technological superiority equals evolutionary success. We could have fought you directly, but that would have only led to mutual destruction. The Sentinels began to pulse with synchronized energy patterns, creating a complex web of quantum fields that connected them all. The space within their formation started to shift and change, revealing glimpses of other dimensions, other possibilities. Instead, we chose a longer path. We seeded these sentinels throughout the galaxy, disguised them as natural phenomena, and waited. Each one contains not just our technology, but the digitized consciousness of thousands of human volunteers, scientists, philosophers, artists, and leaders who chose to become part of this grand experiment. Zirak's tactical display suddenly updated, showing hundreds of new quantum signatures activating throughout Empire space. The implications were staggering. The humans hadn't just hidden a few weapons, they had prepared a galaxy-wide network of these devices. The network is awakening, the Sentinel announced. What you see here is merely the beginning. Throughout the Empire, other Sentinels are emerging from their dimensional havens. Each one will reveal itself to those ready to learn, to understand, to grow beyond the limitations of their current thinking. A new hologram appeared, showing a historical recording from the final days of the war. Zirak watched in stunned silence as human scientists willingly underwent a process that transferred their consciousness into quantum matrices, their bodies dissolving as their minds became one with the technology they had created. We didn't lose the war, Commander. We transcended it. Physical extinction was merely a transformation, a chrysalis stage in humanity's evolution. And now, after centuries of watching and waiting, we have determined that some within the Empire are ready for the next step. The Sentinel's surface shifted again, creating an opening that seemed to lead into dimensions beyond normal space. You have a choice now, Commander Zirak. You can retreat to your Empire and report this discovery, triggering the inevitable panic and militaristic response we know your leaders will choose. Or, Zirak found herself asking, even as part of her mind screamed that she was violating every protocol in Imperial doctrine. Or you can be among the first of your kind to understand what humanity truly achieved, to learn why we chose this path, and what it means for the future of all sentient life in this galaxy. The opening in the Sentinel pulsed with inviting light, a gateway to knowledge that challenged everything Zirak had ever believed about the species she had helped to defeat. As she stood on the bridge of her flagship, surrounded by technology that shouldn't exist, Commander Zirak faced a decision that would reshape not just her own destiny, but the future of the entire Dreadnought Empire. And somewhere, in the quantum matrices that housed their consciousness, the preserved minds of humanity watched and waited for her answer. Commander Zirak took one step forward, her decision made. "I accept," she declared, her voice carrying across the bridge. Several of her officers gasped, but none moved to stop her. They had all seen enough to know that their understanding of reality had been irrevocably changed. "A wise choice," the Sentinel responded. The dimensional gateway pulsed, and a stream of quantum data began flowing directly into the ship's systems. "We will show you the truth of what happened during the war, and why humanity chose this path." The holographic displays around the bridge shifted, showing scenes from Earth's final days. But these weren't the images of defeat and destruction that filled Empire archives. Instead, they revealed vast underground complexes where humans worked with purpose and determination, preparing for something far greater than mere survival. "What you are seeing," the Sentinel explained, "is Project Legacy. While our military fought your forces on the surface, our greatest minds were working to transcend the limitations of physical existence." The scenes showed massive quantum computers, each one capable of housing thousands of human consciousness matrices. Scientists and volunteers stepped into scanning chambers, their physical forms dissolving as their minds were preserved in crystalline lattices of pure information. We had discovered something fundamental about consciousness. The Sentinel continued. It wasn't bound to organic matter. It could exist as pure quantum information, free to explore dimensions beyond normal spacetime. But we needed time to perfect the process, to prepare the network that would house our civilization's collective knowledge and consciousness. Ven's instruments were recording everything, his multiple eyes wide with wonder. The energy readings from these machines, they're manipulating quantum fields at the Planck scale. We didn't think that was possible. Many things you thought impossible were achieved by humanity centuries ago. The Sentinel responded. Your empire's understanding of physics is limited by your belief in absolute dimensional boundaries. We learned to see space-time as a fluid medium, something that could be shaped and folded like fabric. New images appeared, showing the construction of the Sentinels themselves. Each one was a marvel of engineering, designed to hide in dimensional pockets while observing and learning from the Empire's development. But they were more than just watching posts. They were seeds of a new form of existence. The war, Zurich realized, her scales rippling with shock. It was all a distraction. Your military campaigns, your defensive strategies, you were never fighting to win in the conventional sense. Correct, Commander. Every battle, every tactical retreat, every apparent defeat was carefully calculated. We needed the Empire to believe in its victory completely. Your confidence in your superiority became your blindness to what was really happening. The holographic displays showed more scenes. Human ships seemingly being destroyed, only for their quantum signatures to slip into dimensional pockets at the moment of impact. Colonies appearing to be abandoned, while their populations underwent consciousness transfer in hidden facilities. It had been an exodus not into space, but into information itself. But why? Lieutenant Kraz asked, unable to contain his curiosity. Why not simply share this technology? Why allow trillions to die in a war that didn't need to be fought? The Sentinel's response carried a tone of sadness. Because your empire wasn't ready. Your society was built on conquest and domination. If we had shared our discoveries, they would have been weaponized immediately. We needed you to evolve, to learn from what you thought was our extinction. Suddenly, the quantum fields connecting the Sentinels pulsed with new energy. More gateways were opening, revealing glimpses of vast digital realms where human consciousness existed in forms beyond physical understanding. What you see here is just the beginning, the Sentinel explained. Our network extends throughout the galaxy, each node containing libraries of human knowledge and experience. We have spent centuries learning, growing, evolving. And now, we believe some within the Empire are ready to join us in this evolution. Zurich watched as data streamed through the dimensional gateway, showing her civilizations and species that existed beyond normal spacetime. The humans hadn't just preserved themselves, they had created entire new realms of existence. The choice before you now, the Sentinel continued, is greater than just yourself or your crew. You represent a potential bridge between the Empire's physical existence and humanity's digital transcendence. Through you, we can begin sharing our knowledge gradually, helping your people prepare for the next stage of evolution. The commander stood silent for a long moment, absorbing the magnitude of what she was being offered. Everything she had believed about the war, about humanity's defeat, about her own role in history, had been based on a carefully constructed illusion. "And if I refuse?" she asked, though she already knew her decision. "Then you will be free to leave. We have waited centuries. We can wait longer. But know this, the awakening has begun. Throughout the galaxy, other Sentinels are revealing themselves to chosen observers. The time of isolation is ending." As if to emphasize this point, new quantum signatures began appearing on their long-range sensors. All across Empire space, more Sentinels were emerging from their dimensional havens, each one reaching out to those deemed ready for the truth. Zurich turned to her crew, seeing in their eyes the same mix of fear and fascination that she felt. "Send word to the fleet," she ordered. "All ships are to power down weapons and prepare for quantum data transfer. We're about to learn what really happened during the war, and what it means for our future. The Sentinel's surface rippled with approval, and the dimensional gateway widened, ready to share centuries of accumulated knowledge with its first Dreadnought students. The true purpose of humanity's apparent defeat was finally being revealed, and with it the promise of an evolution that would transform the galaxy itself. The quantum data transfer had been proceeding for hours, flooding the Eternal Victory systems with centuries of accumulated human knowledge. Commander Zirak stood amidst a sea of holographic displays, each one showing different sectors of Empire space where more Sentinels were awakening. 317 activations confirmed, Ven reported, his auxiliary gills fluttering with excitement. Each one is reaching out to nearby Empire vessels and installations. The pattern is, it's beautiful. They're creating a cascading network of revelations. The Sentinel's network was unveiling itself with mathematical precision. Each new activation was carefully calculated to reach those most likely to understand and accept the truth, creating a web of understanding that would gradually spread throughout the Empire. "We are receiving reports from other fleet commanders," Lieutenant Kraz announced. "Many are experiencing similar revelations. The Sentinels are sharing different aspects of human knowledge, each one tailored to its audience." The primary Sentinel's voice resonated through the bridge. "What you are witnessing is the fruition of centuries of planning. Each Sentinel contains specific knowledge, chosen for its location, and the civilization it would eventually contact. Together, they form a vast library of human achievement and potential." New holograms materialized, showing the true scope of humanity's plan. The Sentinels weren't just passive repositories of information. They were nodes in a vast quantum network that spanned the galaxy. Each one contained not just human consciousness and knowledge, but the seeds of technologies that would reshape reality itself. "Your Empire's greatest mistake," the Sentinel explained, "was assuming that conquest meant progress. Humanity learned long ago that true evolution comes through understanding and transformation. The war forced us to accelerate our plans, but its outcome was never in doubt." Zirak watched as the holographic displays showed more Empire ships encountering Sentinels throughout the galaxy. Each contact triggered new revelations, new understandings. The network was awakening not with violence or confrontation, but with invitation and enlightenment. "But surely," she asked, "some will resist. The Empire's military doctrine is clear about unknown technology, especially human in origin." "Of course," the Sentinel acknowledged, "which is why we waited until we could reach enough minds simultaneously. Those who understand will protect those who do not yet comprehend. The network ensures that knowledge spreads faster than fear." As if to demonstrate this point, new data streams showed Empire scientists already beginning to grasp the principles behind human quantum manipulation. Military commanders were sharing reports of peaceful Sentinel encounters. Political leaders were calling for calm and investigation, rather than immediate military response. "The network isn't just teaching us technology, is it?" Ven asked, his scientific mind grasping the deeper implications. "It's teaching us how to think differently." "Correct," the Sentinel confirmed. "Your civilization has immense potential, but it has been limited by hierarchical thinking and fear of the unknown. We are showing you alternatives, ways of existence that transcend physical limitations and cultural boundaries." The holographic displays shifted again, revealing vast digital landscapes where human consciousness existed in forms beyond physical understanding. These weren't just data storage systems, they were entire universes of thought and experience, realms where mind and energy intertwined in ways that defied conventional physics. "In these spaces," the Sentinel explained, "we have continued to evolve, to explore, to create. Physical death became meaningless once consciousness could exist as pure information. But we never forgot our origins or our responsibility to help other species reach similar understanding." Suddenly, new alerts sounded across the bridge. The quantum fields connecting the Sentinels were changing, forming patterns of unprecedented complexity. "The network is achieving critical mass," the Sentinel announced. "Enough minds have been reached. The next phase can begin. Space itself seemed to ripple as the Sentinels began synchronizing their quantum fields. The fabric of reality became fluid, revealing glimpses of dimensions that existed alongside normal spacetime. The Empire ships found themselves suspended in a web of pure possibility. "What's happening?" Xerox demanded, though part of her already understood. "The network is not just for sharing knowledge," the Sentinel revealed. "It is a key to unlocking the quantum nature of reality itself. As more minds understand, as more beings comprehend, the barriers between physical and digital existence begin to blur." The commander watched in awe as the space around her ship began to transform. The quantum fields were creating interfaces between normal space and the digital realms where human consciousness dwelled. Reality itself was being reshaped by the collective understanding of countless minds. "Your empire stands at a crossroads," the Sentinel declared. "The knowledge we offer will transform your civilization forever. Some will embrace this evolution eagerly. Others will resist, clinging to old ways of thinking. But the process cannot be stopped now. The network has awakened, and with it, the true purpose of humanity's legacy is being fulfilled." As if to emphasize this point, new signals began arriving from across Empire space. More ships were reporting contact with Sentinels. More minds were being opened to new possibilities. The transformation that humanity had planned centuries ago was finally beginning, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days had passed since the first Sentinel revealed itself, and the galaxy had changed more in those 72 hours than in the previous millennium. Commander Xerox stood in what had once been the bridge of the eternal victory, though it now served as an interface between physical space and the quantum realms that humanity had created. Final reports from Empire Central Command. Lieutenant Kraz announced, his voice carrying a note of wonder. "The High Council has formally acknowledged the presence of the Sentinel Network and has called for galaxy-wide cooperation with the Human Consciousness Collective." It hadn't been a unanimous decision. Some military hardliners had called for immediate aggressive action, but they found their weapons mysteriously non-functional when attempting to attack the Sentinels. The network had planned for every contingency, ensuring that understanding would prevail over fear. "Show me the latest transformation data," Xerox requested. The quantum fields around them shifted, displaying the progress of what was now being called the Great Awakening. Across Empire space, thousands of individuals had already begun the process of consciousness transfer, their minds joining the vast digital realms that humanity had prepared. They weren't just preserving themselves, they were evolving into something entirely new. "Remarkable," Venn observed, his scientific instruments now augmented by direct quantum interfaces. "The human consciousness architecture adapts to each species' neural patterns. They weren't just creating a shelter for themselves, they were building a framework for universal transcendence." The primary Sentinel's voice resonated through the quantum fields. "Now you understand the true purpose of our apparent defeat. The war was never about victory or domination. It was about creating the conditions necessary for universal evolution." New data streams showed the extent of humanity's foresight. The Sentinels hadn't just been waiting. They had been actively guiding the Empire's technological development, subtly influencing research directions and scientific discoveries to prepare them for this moment. "But why wait so long?" Xerox asked. "Why allow 3 centuries to pass before revealing yourselves?" "Time was necessary," the Sentinel explained. "Your civilization needed to reach a specific level of quantum understanding. More importantly, your collective consciousness needed to evolve beyond simple conquest. We had to wait until enough minds were ready to comprehend existence beyond physical form." The holographic displays showed the transformation spreading across the galaxy. The Sentinel network wasn't just sharing technology. It was offering a new way of existing. Physical beings could choose to transfer their consciousness into the quantum network, becoming part of a vast collective while maintaining their individual identity. "What we offer is not the end of your civilization," the Sentinel continued, "but its transcendence. The Empire's greatest achievements need not be forgotten. They can be preserved and built upon in ways your physical forms could never achieve." Zurach watched as more reports flooded in. Scientists, philosophers, and ordinary citizens were embracing the opportunity. The digital realms were expanding, becoming more complex and diverse, with each new consciousness that joined them. And those who choose not to transcend, she asked, though she already knew her own decision, will be respected and protected, the Sentinel assured. The network will maintain interfaces with physical space. Those who wish to remain in corporeal form will not be abandoned or forced to change. Humanity's legacy is one of choice and understanding, not compulsion. Suddenly, the quantum fields pulsed with new energy. The sentinels across the galaxy synchronized, creating a moment of perfect clarity. In that instant, every being connected to the network could see the full scope of humanity's vision. They had known, centuries ago, that physical conflict would only lead to mutual destruction. Instead, they had chosen a path of transcendence, using their own apparent defeat to seed the galaxy with the means of universal evolution. The war had been their chrysalis, their transformation a gift to all sentient life. The time has come, the Sentinel announced, for humanity's final message to be shared. The quantum fields shimmered, and a new presence made itself known. Not a single consciousness, but a collective of the original human minds who had first transcended physical form. Their thoughts merged with the network, sharing not just words but pure understanding. We are humanity, and we chose not to end, but to evolve. Our legacy is not in weapons or empires, but in the potential we saw in all sentient life. We offer not conquest or submission, but transcendence. The universe is vast, consciousness is infinite, and existence holds more wonders than any physical form can comprehend. Join us, if you choose, in the next stage of evolution. Commander Zurach stepped forward, her decision made. Around her, members of her crew were doing the same. Throughout the galaxy, millions of beings were making similar choices. The Sentinels activated their transformation protocols, ready to guide new consciousness into realms beyond physical understanding. The war that everyone thought had ended in humanity's extinction had actually been the beginning of something far greater. As Zurach felt her physical form begin to dissolve, her consciousness expanding into the quantum network, she understood at last the true meaning of victory. Humanity hadn't lost the war. They had transcended it, and in doing so, offered the galaxy a future beyond the limitations of physical existence. Their legacy would live on not in the ashes of defeated worlds, but in the infinite potential of consciousness itself.